0619 local time. Northern Arabian Sea. One U.S. carrier strike group and multiple threats converging at once. On board the USS Abraham Lincoln, the morning air operations had just begun when the comm shattered. 25,000 feet above the fleet, an E-2D Hawkeye detected something impossible to ignore. 4 ballistic missile signatures and dozens of unidentified air contacts racing toward the strike group. Within seconds, the radar picture turned into a crisis. 2 destroyers screening the carrier, USS Spruance, DDG-111, and USS Michael Murphy, DDG-112, began receiving the same data feed. 30 radar returns, low altitude, moving south out of the haze at barely 100 knots. The tactical action officers on both ships immediately recognized the pattern. One-way attack drones. Cheap, disposable, but dangerous. Each drone carried enough explosives to cripple a radar array or punch into an engine room. The call came instantly across every compartment of the destroyers. General quarters, general quarters. All hands man your battle stations. Steel hatches slammed shut. Sailors sprinted toward combat positions. The quiet morning had turned into a full combat engagement in seconds. On the Spruance, the ship's Mark 45 naval gun rotated toward the incoming drones. At 9 miles, it opened fire. 70-pound shells burst in the air, scattering fragments across the sky. The gun did not need direct hits, just proximity. 2 drones disappeared in the first airburst. A third staggered, losing 1 engine but continuing forward. Below deck, the autoloader hammered out a rhythm the crew could feel through the steel hull. 20 rounds per minute. Lock, fire, reload. The sky slowly cleared. Meanwhile, 90 miles to the east, the Michael Murphy repeated the same drill, engaging incoming drones with its own 5-inch gun and deck weapons. But the situation was about to get more complicated. Surface radar suddenly lit up with a new warning. Fast-moving contacts. Speed, 40 knots. Direction, inbound. They were Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps fast attack boats. Small, fast, and often loaded with explosives. Now the destroyers faced a tactical dilemma. Drones from the north, explosive boats from the east. 1 main gun, 2 directions. No perfect answer. The Spruance accelerated to flank speed and turned hard to port. The maneuver threw a massive wall of white water behind the ship, breaking the attack formation of the incoming boats. Instead of a coordinated swarm, the boats scattered, and scattered boats are easier to destroy. A stabilized Mark 38 autocannon locked onto the lead craft. Short bursts ripped across the waves. The engine housing detonated. At the same moment, an MH-60R Seahawk launched from the deck and fired a Hellfire missile. Another boat vanished in a column of spray and flame. For a moment, the defenders seemed to regain control. Then the electronic warfare operators broke the silence. Vampire, vampire, vampire. An anti-ship missile launch. The attack had been carefully planned. The drones and boats were only distractions. Their real purpose was to force the destroyers to burn time, ammunition, and attention. Meanwhile, along the Iranian coastline, a missile battery had been quietly listening to radar emissions for nearly an hour. Now it fired. 4 sea-skimming anti-ship missiles surged across the water at nearly the speed of sound. Their design was based on the Noor anti-ship missile, a domestic version of China's C-802. Altitude, 5 meters above the waves. Warhead, 165 kilograms. On Spruance, the response was immediate. 3 SM-2 missile interceptors launched vertically from the ship's VLS cells. Radar illuminators locked onto the incoming threats. Moments later, 2 explosions lit the horizon. The remaining missiles followed seconds later. None reached the ships, but the engagement had already consumed precious minutes. Because above them, the Hawkeye continued tracking the real danger. 4 ballistic warheads descending toward the carrier. The strike group had one final defender, a third destroyer positioned farther north, the USS Frank E. Petersen Jr., DDG-121. Unlike the others, this ship had remained silent. Its mission was different: ballistic missile defense. Inside its Combat Information Center, the crew prepared the most complex intercept in naval warfare. 4 targets, 4 interceptors. The weapon, SM-3 missile. Unlike normal missiles, the SM-3 does not explode. It collides with its target in space. 5 interceptors launched within seconds. Above the atmosphere, kinetic kill vehicles separated and raced toward the descending warheads. 1 impact, then another. 3 tracks vanished from the radar. The 4th attempted a decoy maneuver. For a moment, the radar return split into 2 objects, but the interceptor adjusted its trajectory. Seconds later, impact. All 4 warheads destroyed. The flight deck of the Abraham Lincoln erupted back to life. Jets roared down the catapults. Because the strike group already knew where the missiles had been launched, now the response phase had begun.